There are moments in our lives, you must have felt it, when we find ourselves suspended. We are no longer where we were, but we haven't yet arrived where we're supposed to be. It's as if you're standing still, right in the middle, between what's behind you and what hasn't yet manifested. A strange stillness where nothing seems clear. The fog of uncertainty hangs, and you try to see, but the shapes are indistinct. However, beneath this confused surface, something deep and invisible is in motion. Everything is shifting, rearranging, in ways you never expected. You try to hold on, to cling to old patterns, to old certainties, but life, oh life, keeps slipping through your fingers like water. Plans that seemed solid unravel. People who were pillars in your journey drift away like boats adrift. Doors that once opened effortlessly now remain stubbornly shut. And in the midst of this confusion, a quiet voice, almost a whisper from the soul, asks, "Why is this happening now? Why me specifically?" It's a question that echoes in the darkness. But what if the answer is different from what you imagine? What if, instead of everything falling apart, it's actually falling into place? What if the chaos you feel now isn't a punishment, not a penalty, but rather a passage, a portal to something new and infinitely better? There is a deeper current guiding us, an invisible force that doesn't operate by the linear logic we so love, but by attunement, by alignment. The universe, you see, does not seek your comfort at all costs. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, seeks your transformation. And sometimes, and this is the most challenging part, the only way to truly awaken us is by undoing, by deconstructing everything we have already outgrown. You feel this shift, don't you? This sense that your old version, the one you knew so well, is fading. The patterns you repeated, the attachments that bound you, the identities you built and wore like a second skin, they simply no longer fit. They don't belong. And make no mistake, this is not the end. On the contrary, it's the turning point. It's the epicenter of a new era in your life. You are not being abandoned, no matter how overwhelming the feeling of loneliness may be at times. You are being summoned to a new chapter. You are being rearranged, piece by piece, and prepared for something much greater than you can imagine. And the sooner you understand the why behind all of this, the sooner you will stop resisting. You will stop fighting the current and you will start to remember. Remember that you were never meant to stay the same. Stagnation is not part of your essence. What now feels like profound disorientation is often a divine design in action. The confusion you find yourself in at this very moment is not a mistake. It is not a meaningless detour. It is, in fact, a construction zone. Think about it. The universe is rebuilding something sacred within you. And let's be honest, the construction process is rarely clean or organized. There's dust, noise, structures being demolished to make way for something new. You've stepped out of what was old, out of what was familiar, but the new, your new self, your new reality, hasn't fully formed yet. And this, my friend, is not a void to be feared. It is a womb, a space of gestation, of nourishment, where your new version is being carefully molded. You are not lost. You are becoming. Every disruption you face, every obstacle, every piece that seems out of place is part of a larger symmetry you cannot yet see. It's a puzzle revealing itself piece by piece. Life, in its essence, will never stay in the shape you once knew. It wasn't meant to. The soul is too expansive, too eternal to remain trapped in yesterday's framework. And that's why when something falls apart, when it disintegrates without warning, it's not always because something went wrong. Sometimes, and pay close attention to this, it's because something much deeper is starting to go right. A new season is calling your name, and the universe, in its cosmic dance, is rearranging everything that no longer fits the frequency of where you are headed. What used to work perfectly suddenly starts to glitch, to malfunction. What used to feel safe now becomes an unbearable burden. And this is not failure. This is alignment. You asked for peace, but clung to the chaos you knew. You cried out for clarity, but resisted the cleansing process the universe offered. You begged for a higher path. And now the universe is diligently clearing everything that could block that journey. You were never ignored. Your prayers were heard so deeply with such intensity that the surface of your life could not remain untouched. Think of the potter. To mold hard clay into a work of art, he must first break it, soften it, stir it, restructure it. This process is not out of cruelty, it's out of incredible care, an intention to create something beautiful and functional. Similarly, the life you've known must be softened, stirred, restructured, not out of malice, but out of a love and care that transcends our understanding. There's an intelligence in the unseen, a pattern, a rhythm to the pullbacks, the pauses, the endings. When something abruptly exits your life, it may not be punishment, but prevention. When the door slams, it may not be rejection, but redirection. The universe knows when something has served its purpose, and rather than letting you stagnate where your spirit can't stretch, it moves the ground beneath you to carry you forward. It doesn't wait for your comfort, it waits for your readiness. This is why this rearrangement feels so intense, so visceral, because it reaches into the roots. It's not content with surface-level change. It dismantles what you built your identity on so that a truer, more authentic foundation can emerge. And that's why you're here, watching this video, feeling this shift. You're not being abandoned in the confusion, you're being refined by it. This isn't destruction, this is precision. The universe isn't removing things to take something from you. It's positioning you for what you truly asked for, even if unconsciously. And every piece that feels like it's breaking is actually falling perfectly into place. When the universe begins to rearrange your life, one of the first and most important things it asks of you is this: let go, release. Not because what you're holding is necessarily bad, or because there's something wrong with it, but because it's simply no longer in harmony with who you are becoming. The rearrangement isn't just about changing your outer circumstances. Oh no. It's much deeper. It's about dissolving your inner attachments. Think about it. You can't walk into a new reality while dragging yesterday's weight behind you. The emotional baggage, the old beliefs, the past expectations. Detachment is not a loss. It's a sacred untying, a deliberate release of what once served its purpose, but now, subtly, holds you back. So much of what makes the rearrangement painful is our resistance to this release. We attach immense meaning to people, to roles we play, to plans we made, assuming they define who we are. And when those things shift or disappear, it feels like a part of ourselves is disappearing too. But what if it isn't you that's being lost? What if it's just a layer you no longer need? A shell that has shed? The universe rearranges, not to strip you of your worth, but to reveal what was always deeper than the surface connections. Detachment is the universe's way of making space. Space for alignment. Space for expansion. Space for the next stage of your soul's unfolding. Imagine trying to climb a mountain, to reach the top, while clinging tightly to the edge of a step far below. That grip, that fear of letting go, becomes the very thing that stops you from rising, from elevating yourself. The universe knows when something has become too small for you, and in its wisdom, it starts shaking loose the structures you've mistaken for safety. This is where the rearrangement often manifests as true chaos. Things fall away faster than your mind can explain, but the truth is, you're not being emptied to suffer, you're being emptied to receive. Letting go isn't an act of weakness, it's the doorway to your transformation. Detachment does not mean becoming indifferent or cold, not at all. It's about trust. Trusting that what is truly meant for you cannot be lost. Trusting that the space left behind by what departs is not a wound to be hastily filled, but an invitation to something new, to your true self. The universe isn't asking you to detach to punish you. It's doing it to align you to your truth, to your future, to the version of yourself that's waiting on the other side of surrender. When you stop gripping what's leaving, you open your hands to what's arriving. That's the essence of the secret. And that's why this rearrangement is sacred. The moment life stops making sense is often the moment you're closest to realignment. The rearrangement never announces itself with crystal clarity. It enters quietly, shifting the ground beneath your plans, pulling your steps in unfamiliar directions. And yet, there's a hidden order in the mystery. The universe doesn't need you to understand the entire map, every street, every turn. It only asks you to keep walking. You're not lost. You're being guided by coordinates you can't yet read with your physical eyes, but which you can feel in your spirit, an inner compass that points to your true north. When the path becomes uncertain, the mind, with its need for control, panics. It demands proof, it demands immediate results, but the soul speaks a different language. A language of trust, a language of presence. The universe rarely gives detailed explanations. Instead, it offers signs, synchronicities, and a quiet inner pull that asks you to believe before you see. Rearrangement requires this kind of faith. Not blind, naive optimism, but a deep recognition that something wiser than your limited logic is at work. Your life is not a random scattering of events. It is an unfolding guided by something infinitely intelligent. Just as stars aren't visible during the day, some of the clearest guidance only appears in the darkness, in moments of greatest uncertainty. And this is where many give up, mistaking the silence for absence, the waiting for abandonment. But the stillness, however painful, is not empty. It's sacred preparation. The universe isn't ignoring you. It's aligning the pieces, calibrating the timing and strengthening your spirit so that when the opening comes, you'll be ready to step through it. The pause isn't punishment, it's precision. You weren't meant to see every turn ahead. That kind of control would only limit you. If every answer was given in advance, there would be no room for discovery, for the journey, for trust in life. So if you feel disoriented right now, if the old roads have crumbled and no clear direction has taken their place, pause. Don't rush to rebuild what's familiar. Sit in the unknown. Listen closely. The rearrangement isn't complete yet, and clarity will come, not all at once, but exactly when you need it. Trust that you are not walking alone. Every step, even the uncertain ones, is moving you toward what you were always meant to become. When the universe begins rearranging your life, it isn't just shifting your circumstances, it's reshaping you. Not the version you show the world, but the version you were always meant to live from. The rearrangement pulls everything out of sync with that deeper identity. Habits, relationships, even thoughts that no longer reflect your highest truth start to unravel. And though it may feel like things are being taken away, what's actually happening is refinement. The universe isn't trying to destroy your life, it's trying to align it. And alignment isn't perfection, it's honesty. And honesty requires the courage to release the stories you've outgrown. The roles you played just to survive, the dreams you inherited from others, the masks you wore to belong. As the rearrangement deepens, these things begin to fall apart, not to harm you, but to reveal what's real underneath. The moment you stop trying to fix what's fading and start allowing the new to emerge, you step into alignment. And alignment doesn't force, it flows. You'll begin to notice a change in how you respond to life. The triggers that once pulled you under no longer have the same power. The fears that used to direct your choices lose their voice. Why? Because the self you're becoming doesn't speak the language of lack. It doesn't chase, it attracts. It doesn't beg, it believes. And this version of you, the aligned self, is exactly who the rearrangement was always guiding you toward. The shedding was never punishment, it was a sacred preparation. In this space, you don't need to force open doors. You become the energy that draws the right ones to you. The more you live from this truth, the more your life reflects it, the chaos begins to quiet, too. Not because the world changes overnight, but because you do. And that's the deepest reason the universe is rearranging your life right now. Not just so you can have more, but so you can be more. More present, more real, more whole. Aligned not only with your path, but with the power that walks it beside you. There comes a point in every rearrangement when resistance no longer serves you. You've asked for clarity, healing, expansion, and now the universe is delivering, but not in the way your mind expected. It doesn't always come wrapped in comfort. Sometimes it shows up as endings, silence, unfamiliar paths. But within all of it is an invitation, a quiet, undeniable call to say yes. Not just a casual yes, but a sacred one. A full body, soul, deep surrender to the unfolding that's already begun. The sacred yes isn't loud. It doesn't require a grand public gesture. It happens in the stillness, in the moment you decide to stop running from the unknown and start trusting what's pulling you forward. You don't need all the answers, you only need the courage to respond. When you align your yes with what the universe is orchestrating, you step out of confusion and into co-creation. You're no longer being dragged, you're dancing with the rhythm of your own becoming. This is the turning point in the rearrangement. The moment you shift from fearing what's being taken to recognizing what's being offered, you start to see that every closed door protected you, every delay prepared you, and every detour redirected you to something more aligned. But none of that becomes clear until you agree to participate. Until your yes becomes louder than your fear, that's when the energy moves differently. That's when the path begins to unfold beneath your feet. Saying yes doesn't mean you won't still feel the stretch, the tension. Growth will always ask something of you, but the sacred yes gives that growth permission. It tells the universe, I trust you. I trust that this rearrangement isn't here to break me, but to build something inside me that couldn't exist otherwise. And that trust opens a portal where new beginnings enter, peace returns, and guidance becomes unmistakably clear. Not because the outer world has changed, but because you have met the change with readiness. So, if you feel the pressure rising right now, if the walls are closing in, if the pieces of your life are shifting in ways you can't control, pause. Listen, you're being asked to say yes to a life you haven't lived yet, to a version of yourself you've barely met. The rearrangement isn't happening to pull you under, it's happening to pull you through. And on the other side of your sacred yes is everything you've been preparing for, even if you didn't know it. This is why the universe is rearranging your life right now, not to harm you, but to reveal you, to lead you into the truth you've buried beneath expectation, fear, and routine. It's answering your prayers in a language the soul understands, through release, redirection, and resurrection. The discomfort is not a sign to quit. It's the invitation to rise. Now, let go. Trust deeper. Walk forward. Not because you know exactly where the road leads, but because you finally remember who you are. You were never meant to remain unchanged, and now the rearrangement begins.